listeners. You're listening to 18 Minutes with Satyal and Silwal. I'm Satyal.
And I'm Silwal.
And I'm back, people. Ha ha ha.
And we're a weekly podcast from the Himalayas.
When it's a Tuesday and it's 7:30, you know it's time for perspectives, conversations, and stories.
Just a routine system check. Silwal's voice coming in clean. Satyal's boxers up and running. And yes, they still cannot hear me. Oh yeah.
10 episodes ago, we did this thing called quote unquote, and 10 episodes have passed on. And
It was hashtag
quotes unquote. And the 54th episode feels like another quotes unquote episode for us.
And it also feels like time passes away very quickly. It's already been 10 weeks since we first did that, and we had some good responses coming in, so we thought we'd do a continuation to that. So every, how do you put that out? There was a 44th, now it's a 54th, and 64th, and so on. We plan to do it as long as the podcast is running.
Satyal, it's called mathematics. Every 10 episodes would be the answer.
Ask me, Satyal. Ask me.
No, I didn't know how to say 44th, 54th, 64th, and so on. Okay, you get it.
There was someone who wanted... I have no idea. There was someone who wanted to talk about the quotes.
Who was it?
Quotes. OMG, that's me. They remember me. Oh, you guys.
I have no idea. I'm trying to think of it.
Wait, that was me.
I'll let it be, man. Let's just
Wait,
get on
what?
with it.
Yeah, just forget that for a
Seriously?
while. I think it would be fair for us to go back to the 44th episode.
Damn
Some
it.
of our friends commented on it, and they had their own quotes to share.
Yeah.
So let's start with that.
Okay, the first quote was shared by Sadiksha. Hi Sadiksha, we know you're listening, so thank you for commenting. Her quote was, quote, "I think we were meant to be, but we did it wrong," unquote. What do you think of this? Can you relate? That's the first question.
The idea could be you met someone who you thought was your perfect one, but somehow along the way your actions or their actions or the situation or the circumstances just did not go as according to plan. And
Let me take that to a new level. Your inactions
Yeah.
or their inactions meant it did not go anywhere. Just look at this quote, and I can relate this in terms of probably best friends, because a lot of people, they're friends and then they want to take that relationship to that next level, and for some reason it does not really work out, and at the end of it they're no longer friends, they're no longer in that relationship, and then there's this best friend who was once a stranger. So this quote probably is for all those people out there who thought they
friend-zoned?
are not exactly friend-zoned, but it would have been better if they were friend-zoned, because they would still be friends. But for some reason, they were not friend-zoned. They tried to take that relation to that next level and just did not work out.
I just want to add something. I think we were meant to be... when people put expectations on someone else, and if that expectation does not come into fruition, then that's a sad scenario where it does not go according to your ideas and your plans and your goals. Because you talked about friends. When I was young, and everyone was young at some point in their lives.
That was a long time ago when you were young. Go on.
So when we were young, we had these childhood friends, and we used to sit around, behind buses or in park benches, and we talked about how we would live this life together, and we would always have houses near our
I don't know
neighborhood.
whether to call that sweet or naive.
Yeah, you could call it naive and sweet and everything, but
Yeah,
it just does not go according to plan. And if this was about love, then maybe someone might have had false expectations up.
And also can sense a bit of nostalgia and longing still for that person, because if you look at the way the quote is framed, then you probably are not hating that person right now. That person is still there in your heart, but then again, there is no going backwards. Like you say, the ship has sailed.
By the way, this was her screenshot, so maybe time to change your screenshot. I have 18 minutes with Satyal and Silwal as your screenshot.
Yeah.
Why not?
Why not? Okay, then let's move on to the next quote, and this one comes from...
Okay, this is by Shweta Shrestha, and she has a quote: "This too shall pass. It might pass like a kidney stone, but it will pass."
Oh my. Thank alien master I don't have kidneys.
Now, this is I cannot relate to this because I've never had kidney stone, so I don't know how much it hurts.
Touch wood.
Touch wood. But
I get a sense that it's going to be difficult.
Damn it, I need to share my quotes too. Gotta find a way to tell them. Oh yeah, I'm gonna hack into Silwal's Facebook Messenger. I'm on it.
Of course, it has to be difficult, right?
But then eventually it will pass. So how do you relate to this? For me personally, I wrote about this a few weeks earlier as well because I meditate on a daily basis.
Wow.
So what I've realized is every breath you take, you have to release it. That's a natural cycle, right? So whatever comes shall pass too. Now we might look at this and think in terms of how negativity will pass. But I feel like in some ways positivity will pass as well. So all the accolades, praise, and everything that you're looking for, it might come to you right now, but then you cannot cling to it because it will go away eventually. So you need to be prepared for those times when you're about to hit low.
The way I see it is, our human life is such that we have our highs and our lows.
Sending message in 3.
It's
two,
always there.
1.
And when we are in our lows, the thing, someone just messaged Satyal, I'm sure, because I don't have any.
I don't have Messenger. For those of you who know me, I don't use Messenger. So Silwal is using his phone while he's doing the podcast.
Read it.
He clearly loves talking to that girl, whoever she is,
Girl, it's me, mortals. Come on, read it.
more than recording the podcast.
I have no idea who that was, but I'm probably going to ignore it.
It's probably a guy though.
A Max feel no good. A Max sad.
Hence, I'm ignoring it right now. The way I see the quote from what Shweta sent us was the problems that we have in our lives. Sometimes we make our demons a little bigger than they usually are, and we feel like we are unequipped, we are not ready to fight them, or they're just burdening ourselves, and it just does not feel like you can pass through this. But as a kidney stone, it's not going to be in your kidney, it will pass. Either the doctor will take it out or you'll have to poop it out.
Yeah.
However it is, it will pass.
And there's no point worrying about it all the time, because if it's painful, you need to take it out. If it's not, then get on with it, right? So basically, that is how we would relate to that quote. Sweta, thank you for sharing that quote with us. The next one comes from one of our dearest listeners. You want to say her name?
Yes. Pratishtarya.
Yay, Pratista.
My name is
I did not do it. That was Rawal again.
One less subscriber.
The quote is, quote, "That's the great thing about art. Everyone can have their opinion about why it sucks." Unquote, by Homer Simpson. Now we all love Homer Simpson. What do you think of this? This is like such a fantastic quote.
Are you sure it's the Simpsons Homer Simpson? Because I think it can be another Homer as well. Okay, I have no idea.
Let's assume. Hey, we're not supposed to assume, man. The 4 agreements. But anyway, whoever this great guy is, this is a great quote. And how would you relate to this?
Well, it just means that everyone has opinion. I was having a discussion with a few of the people that I met a few days ago, and we talked about how we judge people, right? For example, the thing was, if you just say, "Oh, that's a fat guy," or "He's a fat man or a girl," are you making judgment? Are you being judgmental, or are you making a statement?
I think you're typically stating about their persona,
yeah.
so it is judging.
It is judging.
Yeah.
For you, it is judging, right? If I say it's just that is a fat man, or I say that is a blue cup, I would think it is a statement. But if you have negative connotations when you're speaking, I think that is when you start judging. Chi or ah or ooh, or that's why I think everyone is entitled to their opinion, but everyone has their own definition of what they think is, good or bad, right or wrong, beautiful and ugly. So art as a whole, if I was to look at art, I'm not an art person, but I look at art as people, because everyone is different and unique and they have their own characteristics. They paint their histories with their own colors. So everyone has an opinion about why it sucks, and I think it also tilts towards why we are a bit pessimistic and we are negative towards a lot of things when it comes to life and people and a lot of things in general. We don't usually look at the positive sides of it. So I think that's what I
For me,
understood.
art, as in not just painting, I would say any form of creation would be art for me. So this podcast episode is a sort of creation, the writings that we do or the sessions that we take. I think everything is an art in that sense. And yes, of course, it's much easier to look at certain things and see why it isn't perfect. But I think it takes a lot, it takes a lot more effort to really see the effort that it takes for people to put their creations out there. Because I know a lot of people who are really good with art, and again by art I mean for different forms of creation. But then they've talked about how they can't put it out there because they fear people judging them.
Well,
Unlike Satyal and Silwal, who do an audio thing on a video platform and don't really care. Go on.
Now, I just want to add. Now, this is a shout out to Anusha Shrestha. She's one of my students in the writing workshop, and she is amazing. Okay, and for the last 2.5 months, I've been trying to get her out to share her writing in public because she is amazing. When I tell you she's amazing, she is amazing. But the problem that I see is, for me, I look at her work and this needs to be shared. Her philosophy is, I'm writing for myself right now. The moment I share it and I have an audience, I'll be writing for the audience and I'll not be true to myself.
Okay.
So if there was a way for you to, give her an opinion.
Not necessarily. Because I write for myself, but then there are certain people who find value in it. And it's more about writing for yourself and growing as a process. But then again, if somebody finds value in it, I talked about how Apurva wrote to me this long email about how she came across my blog, and then she said this podcast was fantastic as well. I did not write for Apurva because I did not even know that she was reading. But then once she read it, she found value in it. And there's so much joy in bringing value to other people's lives. So please share your writings. I'd love to read them out. I personally would really love to read them out. And
so all my writing class, not just Anusha, but everyone out there, I know you guys share, but it's only her who doesn't share. So we need to bring her out.
Yeah, it's not about 100 or 200 people. Just that even if that just one person finds value in it, I think you would have added value, and that's such a beautiful thing.
Yeah, and amazing. Now we've kind of done with the friends that commented on the YouTube, but I have no idea. I have an itch where someone was supposed to share his quotes.
Yeah.
You and I shared it last.
It's not even funny anymore.
Last 10 weeks ago, listeners shared it.
How could you do this?
Someone, I don't know. I'm forgetting that person.
Let it be, man. It's you and me, and I think that's enough. So doesn't matter.
I'll have my time, mortals. I'll have my time.
Okay.
There is supposed to be someone else, but anyways.
Okay, so let's move on with the next quote, and this one comes from the School of Life, which I consider to be my graduate school for emotional intelligence, and it goes like this, quote, "To think well of oneself, a privilege reserved for those who have not begun to understand themselves," unquote.
Wow.
What do you think of this?
I need to read it again. To think well of oneself, a privilege reserved for those who have not begun to understand themselves. Please explain that to me.
Well, I think what this means to say is a lot of people, they tend to come across as all sorted out. They want to have all those fancy titles on their business cards and then write these fancy cards, but then inside they may be shambles. And if they've not introspected, they don't really see that there's so many things that are plaguing them right now, and all these worries that go inside their head. So if you've not really introspected, then you don't really know yourself well. And I think just basically goes on to say that the human existence is like of so much suffering, and if you've not really contemplated, you're not aware of your suffering, so you think of yourself as a perfect person. What do you think about this?
Wow. Just wow. I'm still trying to comprehend the complex nature of the...
Okay, how much do you introspect?
A lot.
Okay. And does this make you wary of your shortcomings? Things
Always.
You should have different...
Always.
So this is exactly what this means. If you've never done that, then you'll always think of your actions as being perfect, and then that's what it means.
My actions are never perfect.
But then you realize this because you introspect a lot. This is exactly what this means.
Wow. Satyal sir,
that is how you teach, by the way.
Satyal teaching Silwal since 1991. Anyways, I think, we've talked about reflection and self-awareness, and we've done mindfulness, and we've done a lot of episodes on how it is important to be mindful. And I think that is well written in the sense that it reminds us of, whenever it comes in a Facebook feed or an Insta feed, whenever these come and, you forget about being self-reflective sometimes, that's a beautiful
Yeah, one simple thing could be now, whenever you're in a situation in the near future when you feel like somebody has acted in a way that is not appropriate, I think I'd urge you to put yourself in their shoes and try to see it from their angle, and then probably by introspecting you kind of try to understand and try to be a little more empathetic. So I think this quote relates with that. Okay, moving on to your quote now, and that's probably the last quote for the day.
I think so. So
still haven't remembered who was supposed to share.
Anyways, this is by Jess Adams. But I don't know if it's a he or a she. Jess could be a guy or a girl. So I'm just going to say it. I'm cracked and I'm beaten, but I still own my pieces, so I still got something to lose. What do you think about this, man?
Well, for me, it has...
Let's just say Jess.
Yeah. Jess, thanks, Jess. It's a wonderful quote. I think it talks about a person who's had a difficult past, but then that person somehow wants to own that past, which not a lot of people do. And although the past, maybe this guy has made a lot of mistakes in the past, but our girl is trying to, he or she is just trying to own the mistakes and feels like, he or she's trying to move forward.
The way that I see it is, a lot of times, you see these quotes and you relate it with people's lives, right? A lot of times when we talk to our friends or, family, they talk about how difficult their past has been and how the past has really smashed them into thousands of pieces, and they feel like it's gone. They cannot come out of it, or they've lost it. But even though you're cracked and you're beaten and you're down in the dumps, the thing is, you still own all your pieces. You are still whole. Maybe just a few cracks, so you still have something to lose, and you need to always feel good about yourself. In some ways, I know it is very difficult to do that, to feel good about yourself, but however broken or beaten you might be, there is still chance for you to redeem yourself.
And when Jess talks about losing something, I can relate this with the lessons that this person might have learned in the past through those mistakes. Now, if this person again loses those lessons, then probably would more likely to make those same mistakes again. So there's always something to lose. And one thing that I've been thinking lately, and it's a coincidence that this kind of quote has just come up, is I feel like we're a lot more prone to feel hurt if we think of everything as a continuum. But what if we can take that mindful awareness and just put a pause somewhere in that continuum and think that this present moment is actually the start of something rather than a continuation of certain fuck-ups that might have happened in the past. This would probably, this is a perspective shift that could do wonders.
This works for me because the way you said to put a pause and to start new things, why don't we take our time as, chunks of time? So X number of time, from A to B, some number of time, you just put that as a box of time.
Yeah.
So that's everything that happened in that box of time did happen. It was a wonderful story. It ended. Now it's a new box, and I think that would make us a lot more feel better about ourselves in some ways, that the past does not haunt us as much as it does when it's a continuum.
Okay, so that was the second quote unquote,
Yeah.
the 54th Tuesday.
Shit, I
Just remember, Animax wanted to share this code, but
Animax wanted to share his code. I'm pretty sure that episode is running out.
Avenge. Revenge. Combat's assemble. It's time to take over these mortal humans forever. And after we do that in the most epic scale, my first line would be, quote Arnold, I need your clothes, your boots and your...
It's never too late to quote.
God damn it. Really? Let me finish.